Hey, glad to see you starting to get up a bit earlier. Proud of you. Hope you guys are all good and hopefully catch up soon. Wish yous all. Bye.
You know you're bad at spelling when it doesn't even give you a replacement word for the word that you're trying to...
What are you trying to spell?
Knievel. If you don't put enough of that tailor gel, I call it.
Lube.
It'll come up on the screen and tell you, but yeah, it just tells you all the efforts you do. And so just literally now, just sit for 20 minutes.
This obviously isn't your first injury. Your first big one I remember is you breaking your back.
Yeah, the TT.
Yeah. What happened there and what was that? Well, what happened?
That was 2017, and I was riding for Clive Paget, and I was going to, in my head, I was going to win my first TT, and I thought I needed to be fastest every day in practice to do that, and I crashed at Greeba Castle on, I don't know if it was like Wednesday or Thursday of practice, but we were going really good until then, like at the top of Super Sport and stuff, and then yeah, crashed, broke my back, my tailbone, my hands, my brain was bleeding, something else, can't remember what else, something small, foot maybe or something.
And how long was the recovery from that one?
Well, I raced at the Ulster Grand Prix. I remember waking up in the hospital and asking the guy, I call it a consultant.
Yeah.
I asked the consultant what the date was, and I think he thought that was because I had a bang on the head and I didn't remember. But I was trying to figure out how many days I had between the TT and the Ulster Grand Prix, and it was like 3 months. Well, in May, June, July, August, middle of August, so two and a bit months. And I said, oh yeah, that's alright, because I have to race in 2 and a bit months. And I remember him looking at me like I was an absolute imbecile. He was like, no, you won't race there. And yeah, we did. He was fuming as well at the time. Well, not fuming, but you could just see the disgust in his face. But yeah, I raced at the Ulster then two and a bit months later. And actually nearly won the race. I was leading the race on the last lap and Hickman passed me, or Bruce Anstey, one or the other. And I come into the winner's enclosure and I was like absolutely fuming. And my sister was there thankfully, and she was like, she grabbed me before the TV people because she could tell I was like proper, had my 12-year-old spoiled brat face on. And she was like, just remember that you weren't even really supposed to be here before. And I thanked her after. I was like, thanks very much for saying that, because 100% I'd have been on the TV with my bottom lip out yapping. So yeah, she saved my ass there massively. But that's just mentality, and like I didn't really even deserve to be there, but then I was fuming because I didn't win. Funny, I won that award, didn't I, for like race of the year, and they rung me up and I don't remember, and I didn't have the balls to say to them that, what race was it for, because I was like, I felt that stupid, so I just said, oh yeah, thanks very much. It's too embarrassed to say, I've got no idea what racing I did before I crashed because I can't remember anything. The tyre was cold. I don't mean like as in it come out warm, it's come out fine, everything, but I've maybe not been as fast on an outlap and then started to push in there or something, so it was either the right hands, because there's not as many right hand corners, so the right has gone cold, or I've caught the top of a grate or grid and just the wrong point, because it's really odd where it happened. It was quite far out of the corner, it wasn't like late trailing brake or anything, so it's gone really early, so freak things. But yeah, I've got no idea. If you'd told me when in the hospital that someone had beat me up and it ended up there, I'd have believed you, and that was it. I've got no your brain does that to deceive you pretty much, but it switched off like 2 minutes before.
Yeah.
And I've got, or it almost goes in like old tapes when you wind the tape back and go, right, well, it's safe to play from here. Nothing bad's happened here, so we'll start from there and forget about the rest of it. I broke my foot like in quite a few places because they wired it across the foot, so they put wires in from the outside of the foot right across the foot to hold all them little bones together. Which so it was in like a bit of a pot thing. Then I broke my femur in 3 places, I think. So they rodded that and then pinned it at the top because it was broke there as well. So there's like 2 big nails in at the head of the femur?
Yeah.
2 big nails in there. Then I broke ribs on both sides, but the one on the left side punctured the left lung, so that lung collapsed. I broke my right arm at the top quite badly. That hit my socket that hard that it broke the socket, so the arm's plated with 15 screws, the socket's wired, but they tried to give me a prosthetic shoulder, but thankfully Christy and Phil, my boss, were there and they were like, no, don't do that, like at least try and operate on him. So they operated for like 8 or 10 hours to fix that. Then so ribs, this arm was broke as well. There was something broken in my face under my eye, but it trapped the muscles in my eye, so I couldn't look like sideways. I had to look like straight on at you, and as soon as I did that I got double vision. It was like, oh, the worst like travel sickness you've ever had in your life. A big hole in this leg where the exhaust had burnt through, so that it looked like they'd scraped it out with like an ice cream scraper, you know, like this perfect little... I thought I'd had a skin graft for about 2 weeks, but I didn't actually have one. I don't know if I dreamt that or someone told me or whatever.
And what about losing all the blood?
Oh yeah, so I'd lost 5 or 6 units of blood. The ambulance then took me to the golf course, which if you've been to the Northwest, it's like right beside the track. So the ambulance took me there, so I think that was maybe so the helicopter could land, but then they ended up operating on me there. That was to like keep me alive pretty much there. So whatever they did, they put the drain in my lung and stabilised my femur and stuff, but that happened there, and then they flew me to Belfast Royal after that. So I don't know, that's what I don't know. I don't know if they put me in the coma there or then they put me in the coma at when I got to the hospital, but either which way, I went to sleep on the Thursday and I woke up on the following Tuesday maybe.
On the 12th of May, Christy messaged me, and then...
Is that Thursday, the 12th of May?
Must have been. And then she stopped messaging me on the 16th, so it must have been on the 17th you started talking to me. So 5 days later, yeah.
Yeah. He was messaging my wife and me in a coma. That's tight, that, isn't it?
I was just making sure of the finances. Making sure it's written into the will.
Have you got signed off, Christy?
Just checking that my name is there front and centre.
Christy was telling them to turn the machine. They were like, he's going to be alright no, and just turn the machine on. But yeah, it's like, I've suffered like pain wise, but like Christy's actually suffered, do you know what I mean? She's the one that had to listen to all the shit and do everything and wash me and get my tablets and dress me, get me up, put me down. Last year I was like, right, I'm going to give the British Championship like a really good go and like try and win it. And obviously it started off perfectly with winning both races at Silverstone, and yeah, so we were like leading the championship going to the Northwest, or I can't remember where we finished at Oldham, we're on the podium. So yeah, it was like started off perfectly, and then I felt really good, and then it didn't feel so good, and that's what happened. So yeah, that was harder, I think, than most things, because most people see me as like being upset about missing the TT and everything, and I thought like I had a genuine, I might never have won the British Championship, do you know what I mean? I might have come back from road racing and been shit again or whatever, but that was hard to take, I think, because I was like, I'd set out my stall and it was working, you know, it was going good. But that's life, innit?
What were you thinking for this year's T2 and where you were at?
Yeah, it was obviously like, I'd put loads more emphasis on this winter. Like I was out riding when I would never have been out riding. I was out like 3 times in December. I literally packed my van up, drove my van out to Spain, with a bike and spares in it and left it out there. So it was like flying back and forth 3 or 4 times. So, and then I eventually brought the bike back. But yeah, I'd done more riding than I'd ever done because I needed to. Do you know what I mean? I was in such a bad state, or body wise and bike wise, and I was getting fitter, like as in gym fit, but that's not bike fit. Do you know what I mean? I'd come back from 3 days of riding and I'd be like absolutely done. Do you know, you laugh at track day riders talking about it, and you could like ride for 10 days straight at track day speed. So I was done. So that was getting better and better, and honestly just before the crash I was like feeling, I wouldn't say I was 100%, but I was like 80 or 90%. I was in a good place. So that's frustrating, but yes, I think everything happens for a reason. I don't know what the reason is right now, and I might not figure it out for a while, but at some point it was like there's a reason maybe why I wasn't supposed to go to Daytona or whatever that was, but it is what it is. So rather than sitting and dwelling on it, I'm like trying to do everything possible again to get back. But don't get me wrong and thinking, oh, Lee's this upbeat person. Like for the first 4 or 5 days I was like in a well, not the first couple of days, because the first couple of days all I was doing was worrying about getting home. Well, the first day, so I had to sort that out. But then after I'd like got home, got into hospital, got an operation, and then woke up from the operation, it was like, oh God, not this again. So for them 2 or 3 days then I was like probably aggro. Not probably, I was aggro. But then once I'd I think once I got the cage on, and then my mindset changed. That literally that night I woke up from that operation and I couldn't sleep, and I was like, that was me then. That was me. The switch was flicked that I'm in getting better mode. And then since then I haven't had a wobbler day or anything. I've been like, this is what I'm doing.
It's funny with both your injuries, like I don't know if we've ever cried in front of each other. And the first time we FaceTimed, I cried, and then it was like all back to normal, and we're both happy and upbeat. And then the second time it was like, shit, I looked at you and just started crying again, and we never cried in front of each other.
Yeah, it is. That's the other thing. Like well, all motorbike racers are selfish, but I was like selfishly, all I thought about is, oh, I need to do this and I need to do that and I need to get better and I need to. And then everyone else around me was suffering, do you know what I mean? Because they were the ones, it was probably a couple of weeks before I actually seen myself in the mirror, and I was like, holy shit. I literally looked like death warmed up. So but then when I was a bit better and people started to come in and visit me, and they were like, I could see it in their face. It used to not make me laugh, but I was like, God, I must look horrendous, because you can see it in people's faces and stuff. So yeah, that's the other bit. I did feel a lot of guilt for what I was doing to other people, especially like Christy and my mum and my sister and stuff, and even like my Phil and Neil and stuff, my boss and mechanics. We are really close. So that was a big hard thing the first time. Whereas this time around, not saying I don't feel guilty, because I do, but something broke and it was nobody's fault and it happened, and it's a lot easier to come to terms with, you know. Like I've got like these set things and they're all in a box and a line, and that's it. Like that's the way my brain works, thankfully, like logically, not hormonal.
One question is, why do you put yourself through this?
Just for the vlog. Someone joked to me about that, like my mate. It was actually Gordon Shedden messaged me last night. He was like, Jesus man, you don't need to be doing this just to get the views. The vlog's good. I don't know, like I get people say things like that all the time, and I don't wish, no, that's wrong. The thing, you can't turn off what you set out to do, or like I've spent my whole life trying to do this job or trying to make it a job, and then I was lucky enough for it to be a job, and these things happen, do you know what I mean? And there is risk involved, and it's like I say, you can't keep putting your hand in the fire and not get burned, do you know what I mean? And I've been unlucky, and then I've been unlucky again quickly, and people say like, oh, it's a sign. Do you know what I mean? Or you should quit now, or you should retire now. And honestly, I don't have that in my head. I might get back racing and be crap, and then I'll go, right, well, I can't do it anymore, but I need to figure that out in my own head. If I just stop now, I don't think in 4 or 5 years time there'd be like demons in my head to go, why did you stop, or why did you not give yourself a chance or anything, because at that point I wasn't in the right frame of mind. Whereas this time I'm in my normal, like, you know me, this is the way I am normally. So I'm logically thinking and going, right, I'm just going to get better and fix that, and then ride then and do this, that. It was all like in a sequence in my head. So yeah, this time's nothing like the last crash. This time to me it's just a broken leg. It happened, it was unlucky, and people saying that I should quit and stuff is that, and I'm a lot more, I've done a lot of readings because I've had a lot of time since the last one, and Christie's as well is very up on psychology of support and sport and all these things. So I have an understanding now of why people say these things, and 99% of the time they mean well. Do you know what I mean? And if someone actually means well, then it's just their opinion, but it might be not what I want to hear. But if it means well, then they want what's best for me. So they're telling me, oh, you should stop, or it's a sign, or you should retire, because in their head or heart they're trying to look after me. Do you know what I mean? But unfortunately that's not what's in my head or my heart. So, and as long as I'm committed and Christy and my family are committed in helping me, then I want to try and keep winning and doing what I'm doing.
Do you ever have, do you have thoughts that you should stop?
I've never had a thought that I should just stop. I had thoughts that when I was really badly injured, I thought, right, if I'm not fit to, I need to come to terms. I'd come to terms with that in my head, but that was because my body wouldn't let me. And at no point did I ever want to stop, because I thought, oh, I don't want this. Which is strange, because I was fucking sore, do you know what I mean? Yeah. And I think that that's something that has to be in you to be able to be a bike racer, you know, like, maybe I wish a little bit of that wasn't in me, and then I would have stopped or whatever. But yeah, no, I've never sat and thought, why am I doing this or whatever, apart from the fact that my body was not fit to do it. But yeah, like I said, if I do go back racing and I'm not competitive, or because as shallow as it sounds, that's the only enjoyable part, like, to win, you know what I mean? There's so much hard times in racing, but that winning feeling is the little glimmer of a golden nugget you get. So if I come back and I'm not fit to win or be at the front, then, do you know what I mean? Why, then I would understand why you're putting yourself through all the torture, and that, what's the point?
And what is it like racing at the TT? Because is it racing at the TT you're addicted to, or is it the winning, or is it, because it must, like, you've had life-changing, or potentially life-changing injuries, and you still want to come back and do it. Like, I think for average people, that's what they can't understand.
Yeah, I don't know how to explain that. I'd love to. It sounds terrible. Like, I don't condone anyone taking drugs, right? But I think, like, if you've seen someone off their head and then you go, why on earth would you want to do that? But then the person off their head's going, I wish you could feel what I can feel. Do you know what I mean? And even though they might know it's wrong, and it's not that it's wrong, but they know it's the
consequences.
The consequences, yeah, or whatever. Oh, yeah. I'm about to tell you your own joke.
I'm not gonna lie, that is. I don't care about that, I won't lie.
Yeah, I'm just doing this for the video. I'm not really driving.
Yeah, officer.
Yeah, do you want to follow me to Starbucks?